Good weekend, all. Ira Epstein with your financial market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for the weekend of May 15th. This is Sunday, 2022. Well, I'm looking over the weekend. One of the events that I think we have to look at is going to be that China is making, again, financial moves in preparation of lifting the zero-tolerance ban in Shanghai. Still no word on Beijing, but that should give a boost to markets. We saw a little bit of that happen in the copper market. That'll be one of the first markets that you see. If you're a spider trader, you want to be watching XME as well, and obviously the copper ETF. Energy market's just the place to be. Nothing stops it. And frankly, it probably gets a little worse. There's talk now that the Kurds have taken some control of Iraqi oil areas. If that is true, a little less production. While Iran over the weekend talked in energy, they can produce a lot more. At what terms? I mean, nobody's going to give from the U.S. I can't imagine it. The Iran Revolutionary Guard, they're not terrorists. That was their demand. Not going to happen. Grain markets are going to be all over the place. Notice how the beans got a strong bid and you dropped away in the corn market. Very strange action on Friday. Gold still out of favor. And the stock market, well, as I pointed out, and you're going to see it on these charts, the market had gotten itself under the lower Bollinger Bands, and they generally don't stay there very long. They bounce back, and then the band keeps dropping, and the market can work lower. I am not thinking this is a low in the stock market. It's a near-term trade bottom possibly, but that's about it. As you can see for the month, we're only halfway through. We're down 2.61%. On the week, we were down 2.42, with a new low for the week settling in, as you can see there. When you take a look at the charts, you see that you made this lowest low, got a bounce away about 200 points from there, so that's a pretty good bounce actually that occurred. You still have the pattern of lower highs, lower lows. That is bearish. When you put moving averages on, the first battleground showed up in terms of moving averages at the 100 week with resistance I still expect at the 43.62 area roughly, the 18-week moving average of closes. Should things let go here, you open the door up for the 3,500 level roughly where the 200-week moving average is. You can see that you're still fighting for the support of the lower Bollinger Band, the 100-day average. Momentum starting to flatten out a little bit as the market has come down to this level. Bounces, yeah, they can happen at any point in time, but I think you'll see aggressive selling in the 43.62 area. In the Dow, it is a very similar picture. You can see last week how the market fell down to this level, held the let's talk the 100-week average and this week and the lower Bollinger Band. Momentum still down. Unlike the other market, you've got a higher high, lower low. I just think this market's fighting to get back inside the Bollinger Band, not a lot more than that. NASDAQ, same story. Higher high, lower low, fell into the lower Bollinger Band, sort of riding them now. You can see you've got 2 weeks in a row. It's not what I'd call the gorilla glue trade where you just latch on and you stay there indefinitely. Not going on the weekly chart here. Momentum, you had come down, but it's sort of flattening in the market. Nothing to be bullish on. And you've got to keep your eye on the fact what happens if the 18-week average of closes in red gets underneath and closes under the 100-week. It's another bear setup on the chart. You're not there at this point in time. In the Russell, support at the 200-week and the lower Bollinger Band. You had your bearish crossover here. Do you see how the 18-week got underneath the 100 and the market settling back? So I understand that. Then we get to the 30-year bond, which has been riding. This is a gorilla glue trade. It's when the market latched onto that band. And you notice how, with this one exception here 2 weeks ago, every week it has hit it. Now, you have embedded readings. You had a big reversal up. I wouldn't be surprised if you try for more of a rally. I think it's doomed. When the red line closes over 21, I will get a different opinion that the market's put in a trade bottom. Until then, these rallies, in my opinion, are going to get sold by the trade. Still looking for lower lows. Each day that goes by, we're closer to the 50-point basis hike that we're going to get in June, and then after that, another one in July. The market is hoping that if inflation abates. You're not seeing that, though, in food prices, and you're not seeing that in energy prices. When you look at the 10-year note, you have an outside week up. Now, when you get outside weeks, two things. Number one, often it could be a trade bottom forming, but not when you have the embedded reading. Number two, you get acceleration to the downside if this week's low is taken out anytime this week, and because it's a weekly chart, next week. Wherever the lower Bollinger Band goes, that's where I think prices would end up. In the dollar index, 8 weeks in a row over the upper Bollinger Band. The most I've ever seen is 9. So you are in rarefied territory. Is the market calling for a correction? Well, it could happen at any time just from the sheer weight of how much the market has gone up. The problem is the dollar is the kingpin of all the currencies. There's talk that even that the euro is going to go back to parity with the dollar. Wouldn't surprise me. It hasn't happened in 20 years. It's about time to happen. As I said, what a fabulous time to go to Europe right now. Lower lows, riding the lower Bollinger Band. Had that 1 week where you didn't hit it and stayed with it. Not as extreme, though, in terms of the dollar because you don't have 9 weeks in a row under it. In the Canadian dollar, you got down to the 200 week in the Bollinger Band. I think the pros stepped out of this market. Now, we're going to start hearing talks about how aggressive the Bank of Canada is going to get its interest rate back to neutral territory with inflation. Resistance on rallies is all the way up from 78.44 to 78.77. It's not an ideal sell situation. In the Japanese yen, the acceleration to the downside continues when and if this week's low is taken out. Right now, it's attempting a trade bottom. I'm going to repeat. You have the embedded reading. Embedded readings don't invite bottoms. You get bounces, and then the trend continues unless the red line closes over 21. It's at 7. It's pretty far away from doing that. Bitcoin, well under the lower Bollinger Band, and markets don't like to stay under Bollinger Bands very low. That does not mean you can't go lower, but I will stick with that. I don't think you're attracting new short sellers here. There could be capitulation on longs, but I'm not looking for new short selling. Get up a little bit, and I think it'll happen, but not right here yet. The differential between Brent and WTI crude, about $1.06. Look at how it's come in from $6.75, narrowing in rather dramatically here. And when you look at these energy markets, you still have the pattern of higher lows, but you have lower highs. Acceleration to the upside could continue if you get over the 113.99 level. It again opens the door, believe it or not, for 124. Wouldn't surprise me. If China comes alive in their economy, they're going to start importing oil again. We in the United States, we're not hearing our COVID cases are out of control. They have picked up. The government's getting ready for the variant that they expect to hit in the fall. Obviously, Europe is doing better. Africa is not. You know, you've got parts of the world that are doing that. But the new norm, and I hate to say it, we have to live with COVID for a very long time to come. It could end up being like the flu, where you get new variations every year. You've got to take the flu shot. People will go back to the masks. There'll be certain shut-ins for communities that can't control it, but others will do fine. I expect it to be something along those lines. I'm not a medical person, but I read like mad, and that seems to be what I'm reading. When I look at WTI, same thing. If it can clear these highs and not get back under this low that you made on this week, you open the door up for the 119 area. Rebob gasoline, no, I would never tell traders to buy at a Bollinger Band, but I have been bullish. I've said, you're just getting into the summer. The summer driving season's ahead, and yes, a certain amount will be curtailed because of price. I mean, you drive around, you look at the price of gasoline, you got to think twice about how far you want to drive because it is taking away money from other items, and food prices are up. So your inflation is taking its toll. But momentum is up, bias is up. That is still an upside target. You put it all together, you come up with ideas as to what to do, and that's what I offer you in the morning. What you see me do here is the teaser. Just the teaser for what I do in my morning subscriber videos. I give you the trade ideas. I start you off each morning with what's going on in Asia, Europe, the US, the reports coming out that day, and then we start talking trade strategies. But it's not just talking or writing. I'm showing the chart, showing the reasons for the strategy, bringing up the different ideas. Some will work, some won't, but you want to see them. Why? Because they might help you with your own trade idea and where you want to pull the trigger, what you want to hold on to. Obviously, the key is, do you trust me as a market analyst? If you do in terms of charting, then what do you want to do? Why not take a look at this? You'll see in the futures, over 40 markets covered in all those sectors. Same, over 40 markets covered, including stocks in the ETF and SPDR categories for you. So how do you find out more? It's so simple. All you need to do at this point in time is either go to our website and the word is and just take your cursor, move it up here, push it up there, and away you go. You'll see the icon appear. It'll take you right to the section that explains how everything works. I'm Ira Epstein. You have yourself a great day. I will see you all on Monday morning.